Seemingly uninterested in adult women, but upset about possibly losing his bond with Madeline Soto? That brings me to an important question. What do you make of this? To answer that question, we're going to need some help from our experts. Joining us now, with us, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, author, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Also a part of the investigations, authorities interviewed Stearns and Soto's roommate, Angelica, and according to court documents, she had asked Jen about her relationship with Stearns. Let's take a look at this as well so that we can talk about this. Angelica stated she had another conversation with Jennifer about her sexual interactions or lack thereof with Stefan. Angelica said they didn't have sexual relations often, and that is why she didn't want to be with him any longer. Police also asked Jen directly about her relationship, and here is what she had to say. I asked Jennifer to explain her and Stefan's sex life, which she described as vanilla. Stefan would want to have anal sex with Jennifer, but she said she didn't want to. All right, let's talk about these things. Dr. Lieberman, you hear some of these descriptions about, for instance, seemingly not interested in women and wanting to have anal sex. What do these things say to you initially, if anything?
Well, it shows that he has deep psychological problems that began in childhood, obviously, as they do. His mother, the interview with the parents of Stefan is really fascinating because it sheds a lot of light on things. For example, his mother said that Jennifer was a bad influence. She was a bipolar, bisexual drug addict. So she was blaming Jennifer for all of the problems. But, someone who doesn't want to have sex with an adult woman and wants anal sex, you have to think of a number of things. First of all, I think he had failure to thrive syndrome. He was given Adderall as a little boy, and so presumably he had some kind of ADHD or ADD. And then also he had a car accident where he was run over twice and he had a head injury. So I think that all of these things caused him to have failure to thrive, and he was really operating at the level of a little boy. Now you could also add to that wanting to have anal sex. Could he have had some homosexual preferences? I think he really wasn't differentiated. He was failure to thrive. He was still a little boy, and he was expected to be with Jennifer in a male role.
All right, ladies, another interesting piece of evidence revealed in the court docs came from Stearns' search history. Take a look. Upon reviewing Stefan's Google information, Stefan also searches a drug on 2 different dates, sevoflurane. Sevoflurane is a volatile anesthetic that provides hypnosis, amnesia, echinacea, and autonomic blockage during surgical and procedural interventions. It is unknown why Stefan would be searching this item using the search terms of show up in drug test when he wasn't attempting to get a job or he didn't have any children that were having surgery. All right, Dr. Lieberman, it is a weird thing to search, and look at the effects of that drug. My understanding is it has to be administered perhaps through an IV. What does this say to you?
Well, it says that, and also his parents said that they were both taking a lot of drugs and sleeping all the time. It seems like he was trying to escape from life, through the drugs and through, obviously abusing a little girl. And I shouldn't say obviously, allegedly, all right, but it really does. Well, no, it's not allegedly. We have the pictures. But what's interesting is we're getting, of course, all of these pieces. We're adding pieces to the puzzle, trying to put it together. But in the end, it really is coming out to be what we suspected from the very beginning, which is that predators on children get together with women who have children, little boys or little girls, because they get into these kinds of relationships so that they can have access to these children. And Jen seems like someone who, did not exactly have a million men trying to become her boyfriend. So she was selling her daughter, basically. I don't mean literally, but she was prostituting her daughter to keep Stefan around.
That's what I think too. And she is not a suspect. We know that, Carol Lieberman, but tell us what you think about some of the details you're hearing of what she told police.
Well, first of all, it is so frustrating and incomprehensible that she is not a suspect. The only thing that I'm hoping is that, she should be like an accessory at the very least. We're not saying that she necessarily murdered her daughter, but she certainly is guilty of something, putting her in harm's way, a bunch of charges. So I'm hoping that they are just saying that she's not under suspicion, she's not a person of interest, and we're not charging her, like waiting for her to do more or say more that will incriminate herself. But she really, some of the things that first of all, it's really interesting to watch her now, to look at those interviews now. Because when we first saw them, when this first happened, you had some sympathy for her. And now that all this information has come out and we realize, that she did know so much more and she was okay with it, she was putting her daughter in harm's way, it seems so hollow. All of the sort of tears or whatever, please tell me if you see my daughter. It's just very chilling to see that this mother really didn't love her or have enough care for her. She at the very least, she was putting Stefan before her daughter. And so I just hope that they really are ultimately going to charge her with something.
Dr. Lieberman, are you able to take that one step further? Is it possible, based on your expertise, to say, because the mother did what Sharonda just described so well, because the mother did that and told one story to the police, a different one to friends, she knew what she was doing. There was no unknown in the steps she was taking.
Yes, she did know a lot more than she was trying to give out. People are saying, well, particularly Stefan's mother, but she, the daughter, first of all, had puberty at 11, went into puberty at 11. And apparently at school, because of her developing, earlier than some of the other girls, she was being felt up by boys at school, which is very interesting because it's not just, I don't think, because of the fact that she was developing sooner, but also that there was a sense, I think they had a sense that she was engaged in some kind of sexual activity, and they were attracted to her in that kind of way. And I'm not, little kids don't understand all of this, but unconsciously, they were attracted to her. She was like a more experienced kind of girl. Also, right before she was killed, they were saying that she was showing some signs of bipolar disorder, manic depressive disorder, like her mother had. And so, at least that's how they were interpreting it. But it could well have also been, maybe that was true, but maybe it was also that this was a reaction to all these years of sexual abuse, that she was getting more aggressive towards her mother and, acting out more irrationally.
All right, and again, Jen is not a suspect at this time. Following his arrest, Stearns' mother sent him an email that seemed to implicate Jen as a possible accomplice to these alleged crimes. She wrote, "We all know, redacted, was heavily involved in this, and I am disgusted that she is free and you are not." She went on to say, "That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything." So his mother on his side in the last 10, 15 seconds, Dr. Lieberman, does that surprise you?
No, and all I can say is if they put the parents on the stand, although she's saying that, I think they would not be helpful to his case. Let's put it that way. But yeah, they're saying that he is the front man, that he really loved, felt for, has remorse for Jennifer's, for Madeline's death, and that the mother doesn't. So, that could well be true, that he's taking the fall because he feels guilty for what he did do to Madeline.
Could be.
It's possible.
All right, it's possible, and I apologize, we're out of time. Thank you so much to my guests for joining us tonight, Sharonda Brown and Dr. Carol Lieberman.